For the final time in the 2024 NFL season, the bright lights of prime time shine bright upon Dallas, Texas, as we welcome you to AT&T Stadium in Arlington. It is Sunday night football between the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from inside Cherry World. We welcome you to Cowboys Pregame Live, presented by Winstar World Casino and Resort, alongside Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton, and the rest of Cowboys Nation. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us. Gentlemen, it's always great being out here at AT&T East Plaza. You get an opportunity to hear from the fans. You get an opportunity to talk some football. And really, as this season has gone on, I enjoy these nights even more and more as it gets a little chillier in the air as well.
Listen up, it's chilly out here, but we're going to be inside. That's where all the heat's going to be going down, because the Dallas Cowboys have an opportunity to take care of business and disturb the peace of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'm looking forward to it.
I tell you what, man, Atlanta Falcons, get ready, because we finna take these Tampa Bay boys out and let y'all get on top of your division out there, man. I'm telling you, I'm excited. It's windy out here. I'm going to be talking to Kyle, and I'm going to be talking to Isaiah all night long.
All night long.
Yeah.
I love it. There's a lot of Tampa Bay fans in attendance tonight, no doubt about it. They are ready to go because they have a chance at the playoffs. The Dallas Cowboys, not so much. As we take a look at our NFC playoff picture, the Cowboys eliminated officially from contention with that Washington win earlier in the day over the Philadelphia Eagles. An unfortunate ending to the Cowboys season, but not necessarily a surprising one at that, Isaiah.
No, everybody in that locker room understood exactly what it was, that the season in regards to the postseason was gone. That's not what they've been playing for. What they've been playing for as of late has been the name on the back. It's been the brothers that are in the locker room, and then it's also been the star that's on that helmet, and they're playing for their resume, right? The film that's on that they put on out there, that doesn't lie, and that's exactly what's going to carry on for their career throughout the rest of the year.
You know, I wanted to back that up, man. I mean, when you get that far in the season, these guys not been there before, but they understand what is going on. They understand that they have to go out, fight for that contract, fight for their coach, because they're still playing hard for Coach Mark McCarthy. So these guys are bonded in the locker room. They're doing what they have to do. They're going to upset these guys today, the Bucs.
Do you think that's really classified as an upset, though? Because this is a team in Tampa Bay that comes in off of 4 straight wins. We'll talk about it a little bit later on. But this is a Cowboys team that's won 3 of 4 as well, and this defense has been playing better and better as the season goes on. What are you excited about during these final 3 games to learn about this Cowboys team?
I mean, perseverance. Do they have the heart to go out there and continue to compete no matter what the end result is in regards to the postseason? They know that they can't make the postseason now, so now you can let it all out, right? You can go out there and make sure that you execute on all ends. For the defense, they need to go out there and debunk everything that everybody has said about you. Your inability to stop the run, your inability to get turnovers. Offense, can you get this thing back on the rails regardless of the fact that your QB1 is no longer there with you? Can you take care of business? Is there a wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 that can step up? Can this running game continue to stay consistent? These are all boxes that can get checked because guys are still playing for their jobs next year.
You say they would last 3 or 4, am I correct?
Yeah.
And they've been against NFL competition. But these last three teams that they're going to play are fighting for playoff position.
Yep.
So these teams are going to come in and they're going to test what you've been weak at. They have 2 running backs that are outstanding. They're averaging 5.2 yards a carry. They're going to test your mettle up front. Offensively, they got a defense that's not going to let you run the ball. Last 3 weeks, you've been averaging around 120. They're giving up 109. Let's see, immovable force, a hard rock, or whatever they used to call this. I don't know the words to it, but we're going to find out who's going to do what tonight.
An unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
And
That's
all of that finna happen tonight.
It's going to happen tonight.
It's going to happen,
No
God.
doubt about it. Well, there's been a movable object in the Cowboys side of things in the run game. Rico Dowdle's been fantastic. He's had 3 straight 100-yard game appearances. The first time to do that since Arian Foster as an undrafted player in 2014. Rico Dowdle's success has been unmatched over these last 3 games. Isaiah, what's been the number one key to the run game success?
Consistency. Get the ball in Rico Dowdle's hands 20 times. And what's the number, Nate? 20 times.
Yes.
You give him the ball 20 times, he's able to get the flow of the game. He's able to start seeing the holes. He's able to start having patience because he trusts that his offensive linemen are going to open up the holes for him. And that's what you're going to see out of Rico Dowdle if you continue to give him the rock early and often.
I believe this. The offensive line has gotten a little bit more physical. It's gotten a little bit more young, a little bit more tougher. They've been able to find creases in there because they've been able to work together, get to the second linebackers and get on the linebackers. Rico has finally understood that everything ain't 100 miles an hour. Some plays he'll come out of there slow, trying to help set up the blocks. Sometimes you got to stay a little bit longer block. But now when he sees it, he sees daylight. Now he's learning how to run to daylight instead of like he used to do run into darkness.
Well, and that's part of the success from Rico Dowdle is the fact that he not only has run the ball effectively all season long, but now he's got some help up front, the tight ends, the offensive line, everything moving in that direction. The fact that it's all coming together, how much confidence does that give you going into the offseason, even if they aren't able to do that these last 3 games?
It gives me a lot more confidence into the depths of your offensive line. I had that confidence in Rico Dowdle last year. He showed us who he was. Rico Dowdle has been averaging 4.5 yards all season long, and in the last few weeks been averaging over 5 yards per carry. He's been that same consistent dude for the last few years, but he just wasn't given an opportunity. Now, this offensive line is where you had questions. You didn't know if these guys were going to be consistent enough together to be able to move guys off the ball. We know now these guys have fight. We know now that these guys have grit. We know that they have symmetry and chemistry, and they're executing their jobs and giving this team an opportunity to win some ball games.
You know, what I like about it is he stayed healthy all year long. Rico in the past has been here 5 games, out 3 games, here 5 games, out 3 games. He's been very consistent in what he's been doing, being able to work in accordance with this offensive line. This thing is always on a string, and this year here, he's been here to make sure he stay on that string.
Let's hear what Rico Dowdle has taken a step in terms of his preparation and moving into this new role as RB1. The work he's put in has actually been a whole lot of fun for the new running back one.
Rico, individually, have you ever had more fun running the football than these last 3 games?
Probably not, honestly. I mean, maybe high school. Had some pretty good games in high school, like back to back. A lot of touchdowns. I mean, that's the only thing I'm missing right now. But this is definitely a great time right now. These past 3 weeks, those guys are opening it up, and it's been 3 good weeks in a row.
You spoke about earlier this week how much 1,000 would mean. You're 120 off now. How does it feel to be that close?
Closing in, definitely feels good. Definitely want to hit that milestone in my first year being a starter. So definitely want to hit that milestone. Looking for it. Definitely can get it.
You're running really physically. The offensive line looks like it's playing a really violent run style. Do you think that's just been a success for you?
Good.
Do you think that's just been the success for you guys is leaned into that identity? It's just a physical run game.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, those guys are playing violent up front, and they're moving people off the ball. And when they doing that, it make it easy for me.
There are plenty in attendance tonight that are going to have some fun watching this one with Rico Dowdle running the football effectively and continuously putting together a solid run game. When you have all of those things piecing together, it makes it more fun and fun as a play caller as well. Opens things up. We'll talk about Mike McCarthy in that sense as we go on. Let's go inside AT&T Stadium and hear for the first time from our very own Nick Eatman, who's on the sidelines. Nick, of course, the Cowboys being eliminated today, I think, brings down the energy just a tad. But does it really change anything from a team standpoint going into Week 16?
Well, Kyle, the first thing that I heard when I talked to a couple of people here on the sidelines, they said, we're playing to win. They actually cut me off when I said, does anything change? We're playing to win. We're playing to win. Nothing's going to change there. No lineup changes. The mentality, the motivation is to go out and win this game and win the next 3. So, no, nothing changes at all.
Hey, Nick, this is old Big Newton, man. Now, you know my question ain't going to change. It's very consistent. Tell me who's possibly starting on that O-line, baby, so we can rush for 149 yards tonight.
And it's funny how it doesn't matter. Well, you could be talking about politics, you can talk about anything, and Nate's going to turn it back to the offensive line. I absolutely love that. Now the only difference is it's just going to be, with what Tampa does in the middle, as far as that's where their strength is. And I know that we'll talk about that a little bit more, but wherever Brock Hoffman's going to be, that's where they need to run. The sample size, it's not small anymore. He's played enough. Every time he's out there, somebody's setting a career high, and I think he's just a baller. He's a scrapper, he's a fighter, but he's a really good lineman, and they have success when he's in the game. So I'm excited to see what they do behind him tonight.
Nick, I know everybody wants to talk about Mike Evans. Everybody wants to talk about Baker Mayfield. But us offensive players want to know about the Dallas Cowboys offense. And I'm going to go right back to the offensive line. Is this the greatest challenge that the offensive line has had from the interior side of things with their inexperience that they have up front?
Yeah, I think since the Giants with Dexter Lawrence, and I thought they did a nice job with him. But yeah, a few years ago they started the season against the Bucks, and they didn't even try to go inside. It was all outside, and they got a lot of yards doing that. I think now, though, yes, it's a big challenge, but like I said about Hoffman and Tyler Smith and those guys, they're not afraid of anybody. So yeah, I think you got to be smart about it, but I still think they're going to play complementary football. They're going to run inside. They're going to run outside. They're going to throw the ball down the field, and I think they're going to do those things. I don't think they're worried about the matchup. You have to be cognizant of it, but I don't think they're going to be afraid of them.
And, Nick, whenever it comes to this team moving forward, of course, they've got holidays on the mind coming up next. And I want to keep it a little more light here to end things off. We always talk X's and O, but I want to know, what was the best holiday gift you ever received as a child, whether it was from your parents, whether it was from Santa Claus? What was the number one gift you ever received?
Well, I was 7 years old, and I think I had a bike, I had a bunch of football cards, all these things, but I had a little envelope that said, I opened it last, and it had 2 tickets to the Cowboys-Rams wild card game at Texas Stadium. We lived 6 hours away. Me and my dad and I drove down to the game, and I'll never forget that game and a lot of memories there. I had a T-shirt on that was also a gift. It said, "Here comes the next Bill Bates." And so, that didn't necessarily happen. But I think they're going to honor him in the game tonight. And so, anyways, that was what I always remember, is just the tickets to a Cowboy playoff game. To a Cowboy.
How am I not surprised by that being the answer? Nick Eatman's always been a Cowboys guy through and through. That's awesome. I was talking to some fans back here as well, and they were talking about how excited they are to be in the building tonight. So there are some people making memories just like that. Happy holidays, Nick. We'll catch up with you along with Stephen Jones later on in the show. Nick Eatman down on the sideline at AT&T Stadium. Guys, it doesn't matter if it's a postseason game, if it's prime time, if it's a noon kickoff and you're eliminated from the playoffs. Being here is special, and that's what these fans behind here are enjoying tonight, is the fact that they have a chance to have some special fun. And they get to watch some of the best in the world go after it as well. The Cowboys have one of those guys. It's C.D. Lamb. He's been tremendous this season. Look at the numbers as they continue to grow. Of course, he had that season last year, 2023, where he broke all sorts of team records. But you've got all these things moving in their favor because of the C.D. Lamb effect. He is one of the best receivers in football. How has he continued to take a step forward as this game has gone on?
Just continue to try to find ways for him to be consistent. They have to get him the ball early and often. It can't be in the form of fly sweeps. No more fly sweeps, mate. They have to get him the ball down the field. Now, in order for CeeDee Lamb to have opportunities at big plays, there has to be somebody who gets him the ball. So there is a huge responsibility not only on this offensive line to give Cooper Rush confidence and comfort up front, but he has to be able to deliver the ball. I've had questions in regards to Cooper Rush's ability to push the ball down the field 25, 30, 40 yards down the field. You have to understand, CeeDee Lamb, with the quickness that he has, with the speed that he has, 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds after the ball is snapped, he's 30 yards down the field. So that's something that they have to continue to work on, and you have to give him the chance to go get these jump balls.
And the way I see CeeDee Lamb has grown this year, he had that little mistake in the beginning of the year where he got a little upset about the lack of attention being paid to him. But you know what? He not only came back and made amends for that, this dude has been playing with a bad shoulder, and you know how that is. I've never really played with a bad shoulder. I ain't think about it care. But anyway, This guy's played through pain. He's taken these fly sweeps and made the most of it. He's taking short passes and turning them into 30-yard gains. I like what CeeDee Lamb is doing and the maturity that he's showing.
He has shown some maturity. By the way, just a little peek behind the curtain before we hear from CeeDee Lamb. The fans behind us have had the energy all night long. And they haven't even been able to hear us until just now. So now they can hear us. Now we can have a proper night at AT&T Stadium, and they can get a chance to hear from CeeDee Lamb earlier in the week as well.
At the beginning was getting adjusted. Obviously, not having a training camp, that was difficult. And then once I kind of got acclimated as far as health, recovery, and all those type of things, just staying focused and continuing to be who I am. Obviously, carrying a heavy load is is what I do and it's who I am as a player, and just preparing my mental and my physical body for it. So with that, just overcoming a lot of nicks and knacks throughout the season and staying strong. Everything that Jerry's done for the league and for this game, man, it's a huge honor to even be remotely close to him within the first 5 years. And all the success that he's had, shout out to him, and obviously he's the GOAT at my position. So with that, take it with a grain of salt, man, and keep it going. All the work that I put in the offseason, man, is showing fruition, and that I'm grateful, and I'm going to continue to do that, and that's just the person I am, the player that I am, very dedicated to my craft. Obviously hardworking, and I'm willing to pull out a dub, and if that's me go for 100 yards or 50 yards, whatever the case may be, whatever it retains, I'm with it.
CeeDee Lamb's had to fight through a number of things throughout the season, a couple quarterbacks, of course the shoulder injury, and then just the up and down of the Cowboys offense as a whole. Isaiah, you've gone through shoulder injuries similar to that AC joint that CeeDee's had to deal with in the past. How do you cope as a receiver week in, week out as the season goes on and still have as high a production as CeeDee has?
It's pain tolerance. I mean, it's going to hurt. It's going to suck. There's nothing that you can really do outside of trying to manage the pain. You understand that you're going to go out there and play a super physical game, and you'll deal with the pain afterwards. Nobody wants to hear you're complaining. Nobody wants to hear that you're hurting. Everybody on that field is dealing with something. And there's different levels to it, but he understands as a competitor that I have a job to do, and it's not to be complaining about what I'm dealing with, because Big Nate Dogg and the other fellas are dealing with it too.
Oh, yeah, we all hurt somehow, somewhere. Back now, the majority of us sitting up, our hearts are hurting because these Cowboys, they went where they need to be. But seeing CeeDee out there doing what he has to do shows the other receivers the commitment that it takes. He shows the other guys that are fighting for jobs for next year the commitment they have to sustain what CeeDee is doing right now.
Well, how do you fight through pain like that? I know both of you guys have done that at the NFL
level. You want to really know?
Yes.
Do you really know?
I do.
It's a needle about this long. It's a needle about this long. They're going to find the middle of that joint, and they're going to...
So there is some medicine that plays a part. But at the end of the day, it's a will. It's a will. You will yourself through it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I played, when I was here in Dallas, I sublexed my shoulder 2 straight years.
Yes.
That means that my shoulder was popping out almost every game, right? Multiple times during the week, and every game it was popping out of socket, it would pop back in. And you just learn to deal with the pain. It's excruciating, but you still have a job to do. There's still people that are out there relying on you. Everybody understands if you need to step out for a play or two just to catch your wind and bring your heart rate back down because of what you're dealing with, everybody has, look at you get a little head nod, and you go on about your business. And then you get back in there and you do what you can do. He has to minimize the amount of hits that he takes, and he has to be very smart about the shots that he takes as well, because you don't want that to be what puts you out the game.
That's the official answer. That's the
so
PC
before I was
answer.
rudely cut off and giving y'all the truth, it's everything he talked about. They got a few things that they can give you to take the edge off, but that's all it'll be, because as soon as you get hit, you get flared back up. And you'll take a little something at halftime, but still, you got to fight through the pain.
Yep.
What's the thing about what God made us, he made us to feel this.
Yeah.
So we're not meant to be ran into and to be hit at high rates of speed. So, hey, you have to deal with that mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Well, and of course, if you look at what's on the table tonight, CeeDee Lamb was questionable early in the week. He's not questionable tonight. He's playing tonight, because anytime you get a chance to play at AT&T Stadium in prime time, you've got an opportunity to make a statement to the NFL, and they've continued to do that throughout the year, continued building towards CeeDee Lamb's record-breaking season. A year ago, he's actually only 11 receptions away from becoming only the 4th wide receiver in Cowboys history to have 500 career receptions, joining Jason Witten, Michael Irvin, the playmaker, of course, one of your good friends, Nate Newton, and Des Bryant. Those are the only 3 guys that have 500 career receptions. He's 11 away from doing just that. As we welcome up to the table, we've got Nicole Hutchison joining us now. Nicole, it's a little chilly. You got the big jacket on.
Hey, I don't play about the cold. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't play about the cold. I was going to be warm on this desk today.
You were going to play, and you were going to make sure you're there. You're not questionable. You're going to play through it, just like we're talking about with CeeDee Lamb, right?
Hey, just like that. Straight like that.
Just like
let
that.
me go get that. Let me go get that package.
Absolutely. Now, you had an opportunity to catch up with one of of the best Cowboys this season. We talked about the record-breaking season from CeeDee Lamb last year. Brandon Aubrey's having one this year as well.
Man, I mean, you talk about the success that he has been having. You think about it, he leads the team in scoring, for crying out loud, by like 100 points. Sometimes it's easy for it to get overlooked when you're having a season like the Cowboys are having currently. Just the ups and downs, the different challenges that they've been facing all season long. But, I mean, for most kickers, that would kind of add some extra pressure, right? But he told me, Butter Aubrey, listen, it should take one kick at a time.
I got a job every time I step on the field, whether we're winning by 28 or we're losing by 10. You gotta put good film out there. Every kick counts the same in the stat book. And as a kicker, you're judged on your stats pretty heavily.
2023 All-Pro, Pro Bowler in your first season, led the NFL in field goals, and then you look at this season in 2024, and you became the first kicker to make more than 10, or at least 10 plus 50-yard field goals in the season. Then you made history in the Cowboys record books of kicking a 65-yarder. How would you describe the success that you've had so far?
Yeah, it's just the start, hopefully, of a long career. But very thankful to play for Bones. He's been incredible for me. He's a guy that has incredible confidence in his players, and to have that as a kicker, knowing if I go out and miss a kick, especially going out for a 70-yard kick, it'll draw a lot of negative criticism for making that decision. But Bones is the one who will step up and take all the blame for it for us. And I played a little bit scared, tentative, nervous, and didn't give myself the ability to put my best foot forward. And that's what I'd say the best thing about playing for Bones is he just lets you know you're here for a reason. You've got all the talent that we need.
Kind of crazy hearing you say fear is a big part of you, because I remember listening to the Amazon Prime story on you, and you had said that fear was a big reason why you feel like you didn't succeed in soccer. How much do you feel like that's propelled you to want to exceed in the NFL?
That was the number one thing for me. That was my only regret at the professional level, was not just going out there and playing free, giving me that. I mean, we have a word for it in the special teams room. It's not really kid appropriate, so I won't say it, but it's just that mentality to go out on the field and say, screw it, I'm going to do my best, and if the results aren't what I want, then I'm going to keep going until they're exactly the way I want it to be. So I took that really into my training for football and took it with me onto the field, because you still feel the fear, but you learn to deal with it, and you learn that if you focus on it and let it control you, then you're not going to be able to perform.
So how do you stay so free-minded?
Yeah, breathing techniques are a big one. Help limit or bring the heart rate back down when you start to creep in and feel the fear or the anxiety of going out and performing a task, because you can feel it coming a mile away as a kicker.
I do have to ask, I know you're very humble, that's why everyone loves you here, but do you consider yourself as the best kicker in the NFL?
That's a tough one. You're never on the field with another kicker at the same time. Yeah. It's tough to say. I'd like to say yes.
Listen, Brandon Aubrey said that too modestly. I'm going to say it right here on this set. Brandon Aubrey is the best kicker in the NFL. He said it too humbly, straight like that. But I did also get a chance to ask him about Mike McCarthy and his faith that he has in Brandon Aubrey to just call on his name at the 50-yard line and go nail a field goal. And he said, listen, calms my nerves, because you never know as a kicker if you'll have a job next week. So certainly love to hear that from him as well.
They have a lot of confidence in Brandon Aubrey. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I was excited for him to have that opportunity in the wind at Carolina, go for a 70-yard field goal. It didn't work out. He missed it short. That's okay. But you don't blame him for missing a 70-yarder. It's the fact that they tried it, I thought, was really indicative of what he's built here in Dallas.
The fact that they even feel like he had a chance of making it. That's the crazy part. And in order to try it, you have to feel as if you can make it, and that's exactly what they did with him. He's absolutely insane. Nobody in this league is going to question that he's the best field goal kicker in the league.
Yeah. Mike McCarthy actually said that also if it was indoors, he may have nailed it. Hopefully we get a chance to see that today.
Ooh, that would be a bold prediction. You want to
call your shot? Only for the win.
Yes.
Only for the win.
Like that.
As your time.
Yeah, I love that. Only for I love kickers only for the win. Anything else, It's just not civilized.
For context, for those who may not have listened to our show previously, Nate hates talking about kickers. He just cannot stand talking about kickers. I love talking about Brandon Aubrey, and we'll continue. But let's talk defense a little bit here. Speaking of high expectations, Brandon Aubrey has that from the special teams unit. This defense is building trust and building confidence as well. What's your expectation for them going into these final 3 games?
Especially when I was focusing on tonight, I expect this defensive line to continue to cause issues for opposing quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield, we know that he's a gunslinger. He likes to shoot from his hip at time, and when he gets flustered, he's going to give you opportunities for turnovers. So Micah Parsons, Osa Digizua, Lawson, all you guys going to continue to do things to disrupt and make those guys uncomfortable and allow for your DBs to have opportunities for turnovers.
Hey, I'm expecting this pass rush to continue to eat. I mean, good defenses, they make offenses do what they don't necessarily want to do. And this Tampa Bay offense, what they do well is sling the ball around. And they're different weapons. I mean, you have Baker Mayfield, who's has the 4th most passing yards in the NFL right now. So that's what I'm expecting these guys to do. Go eat. Expect Carl Lawson to go eat as well. He's been a guy that has kind of flied under the radar a little bit just because you have guys like Micah Parsons and Osa Odigizua getting a lot of the attention. So expect those guys to go eat today.
Boy, I tell you what, winning to do will make you forget about some of your wounds. And I'm going to open up a few. All right? We have to stop the run. These guys here will average around about 130, 140, 5.2 average. We have to show the world that we are back defensively by stopping the run, and then these guys can eat. Earn the right to rush the passer. Right now, we just been plodding along, doing okay, but now we're going to find out tonight because they're Bucky Irvin and Rashad White will get after you.
And we're going to talk in depth about those two coming up in a couple moments. All those in red behind us are excited to hear about those running backs. But let's talk about the pass rush here from the Cowboys. They've been one of the best, if not the best, pass rush in the NFL since the return of Micah Parsons in Week 10. You talk about earning the right, Nate, to pass, rush the passer and to continue to get in the backfield. Have they earned that right based off of what you've seen with those 24 sacks?
Yes, and just by Parsons being healthy this time of the year, I hate to mention that being injured early may have been helping him later because he always knew to fall off this time of the year, but he's been strong. This defensive line been strong. Osa has found his legs, and the other guys we talked about earlier have found their legs. So if they stop this run early and often, boy, they can have a super night on Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, Michael Parsons has caused havoc, caused hell, as I'd like to say, since he's been back. I mean, and he's pretty much just been like that influence for these other guys, and you hadn't seen that as far as the leadership, right? You've seen it kind of play out on the field a little bit more, and I think that's been a really big impact for the rest of the guys on the defensive line.
Yeah, these guys are just having fun, and that's what this game is all about. Especially tonight, you can let it all go. You understand exactly, that stress of are we going to make it, are we not going to make it, that's been removed. So now all you got to do is go out there and have fun and be the play disruptor. You guys get to mess up the season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Go have fun and hunt play after play after play, and I almost guarantee Coach Zimmer is going to open up the bag and say, fellas, go play.
And remember, this is without DeMarcus Lawrence. This is without Sam Williams. This is without Marshawn Nealon for much of the season. You've got guys like Carl Lawson, Osa Digizua, Mozzie Smith taking steps forward as well on this defensive line. Micah Parsons opens up a lot for his teammates, and he talked about that earlier in the week, about how he can help the guys around him and continue to prove people wrong on the defensive line.
Oh, man. Understanding that, me, Chauncey, and Osis might be separated is devastating. Being here together for 4 years, building our relationship to where it's been, obviously it's devastating, but, you can't help but root for all of them. You want to see everyone get paid and everyone get the maximum of their value. So, I've been talking about, I was like, bro, we only got a couple games left to really show who we are. And I was like, I'm trying to make you a lot of money, bro. Like, just tap in. So we all really been locked in, and I've been telling them where the sacks are, where the one-on-one opportunities are, because I want to see these guys have more success and do things, because that's what brotherhood is, and then we can vacation somewhere in the offseason after they get paid, and it won't be nothing to them. Man, for me, it's just being resilient and proving people wrong. There was at one point they feel like when we came back, we couldn't make a difference. And it's good to show people that we could be difference makers, we could turn things around. To me, it's all about, obviously it was a belief in myself, but I don't know. To me, you should never doubt a line, for real. And I carry that chip on me because, I still feel like I'm still trying to prove myself in this league. I feel like I'll never lose that chip. Like, I'm hungry for so much more than just, just being back. Like, to me, this is like hindsight.
On that defensive line isn't something you'll see on the field. It's the leadership from Micah Parsons off the field and the way that he's taken a step forward. I know early in the season when we were on this show and we were sitting back in the warm studio at the Star in Frisco, we were talking about you wanted to see more from Micah in a leadership role. Have you seen that from him so far?
I have seen him step up. I really have. I think that, whether it's natural, whether it's been conversations from those around him, or whether it's a contract that talks about the startup, either way, it's had a positive impact on him. He is taking a step forward, not only in his play and consistency there, but also from the standpoint of just being an example, trying not to have bad body language, trying to be around his teammates, trying not to isolate himself away from everybody when things aren't necessarily going good. And then when you're in a position of the season where the chances of you going to the playoffs are looking pretty grim, you're still going out there and exerting playoff-type effort. Those are the things, and that's the way in which he's leading his team right now, and I think these guys are really rallying around him.
I'm with Isaiah on that one. I don't think it really matters how it kind of happened or his leadership developed. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Mike Zimmer probably had a talk with him a little bit and said, hey, we got to step your game up a little bit. And there's nothing against Dan Quinn at all. I mean, they called him the fun uncle, as so to speak. Those were Michael Parsons' words himself. But, no, I mean, I think that sometimes as a player you need – I'm not a former player, but I do have experience as college tennis, but I do know that sometimes you need that extra little emphasis, that talking to, in order to step your game up a little bit. And I remember when Trayvon Diggs went down, had a cramp against the Giants earlier in the season, and just seeing Micah Parsons go out there and kind of like work out the cramp a little bit, that was something that really stuck to me. And seeing that type of leadership from him, seeing him be more vocal and trying to get this team to believe a little bit, even though they are out the players, I'm pretty sure he's talking to those guys in the locker room like, hey, we still got to go out there and ball out. Yeah. So I love the way that he stepped up in that way, for sure.
I've been watching him since training camp, and I noticed that he always, sometimes you don't have to be a leader to a whole team, but maybe you can help one person. He's been talking to Mozzie and going through things with Mozzie Smith all his training camp, just talking to him. He made a little statement, well, y'all going to apologize to me because I believe this kid is going to be all right. And then, Kyle, you started 3 weeks ago talking about Mozzie's getting a little better.
Getting better.
That's because someone has to believe in you.
Yes.
And so it could be the Parsons effect. But I believe as long as Parsons getting out to that quarterback and stopping the limit of that run, that's all the leadership you need, baby.
It is fun seeing the leadership grow across the board because you're missing a lot of your leadership. Dak, Zach Martin, now Trayvon Diggs on the defensive side of the ball. You're seeing some guys step into bigger leadership roles, and that's going to benefit you in the future, Micah Parsons being one of the notable guys. Now, of course, the holiday season is right around the corner. We've got a trivia question for the Cowboys fans at home. I wonder if anyone behind us will be able to answer this as well. The Cowboys have a couple wins on Christmas Day all time. Do you know what years the Cowboys won on Christmas Day? We'll give you the answer a little bit later on in the show. Earlier this month, the Cowboys players and staff paid a visit to local Dallas area hospitals as well to spread the holiday spirit. The organization participated in the tradition of visiting children's hospitals around the DFW Metroplex for 35 years now. This year they visited Scottish Rite Dallas, Cook's Children Fort Worth, Children's Health Dallas, and Medical City Children's. Lots of fun seeing all of the smiles across the board, not only from the children but their families and the service workers as well, the very frontline heroes in our industry and in our community as well. Each child received a visit from a Cowboys player, cheerleaders, rowdy, and received a special stocking courtesy of United Healthcare as well. It's one of the best traditions. I know both of you have taken part in it, and I love seeing the smiles and the pictures from all those.
No, it's one thing as a player that you look forward to doing every holiday season is going out and being able to visit those who are in, battling different tough situations. You think that you face tough things on that field. When you go to the hospital, it changes your entire perspective, and for you to be able to put a smile on somebody else's face is absolutely everything.
When I first went, I dreaded it. I did not want to go. I had never been in that type of environment. but then when you get there, your heart just melts.
Yep.
And the first thing they tell you is try not to ask them how they feel.
Yep.
And if you know what Big Noon walked up there and did to the first young person.
How you feel?
How you feel.
Yeah.
but you know what?
You learn, though.
The kids smiled and said, I'm doing okay now that you're here.
That's awesome.
Oh, man, so it made it easier for me. And I'm just glad I can make someone smile, man.
It is the highlight of the year for everybody involved across the board, which is why we love bringing it up this time of year as well. All right. Like I said, there's a lot of red behind us. Tampa Bay is in town. The Buccaneers winning 4 straight entering Week 16. They've turned their season around to a certain extent. They've get some guys back. Baker Mayfield leading the charge out of the tunnel for the Buccaneers. Let's talk about that win streak. Baker has been on another level from what he's shown earlier in his career. What do you feel like the strengths of this Tampa Bay team is as a whole?
I think that they're a well-balanced team, especially when you start talking about the offense. These guys have a top 3 rushing offense. These guys are absolute goons. You don't hear a lot about it because you hear about the Baker Mayfield. You hear about Mike Evans chasing 1,000 yards. You hear all that stuff. But there's a dude who used to be here by the name of Skip Peete, a running backs coach now for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was here in the Dallas Cowboys, and he has that young running back room toting the rock and doing it in a consistent way. These guys are fast, they're physical, they're versatile in their ability to catch the ball at the backfield and get vertical and make big splash plays on the ground. And what that allows for them to do offensively is do exactly what Dallas used to do, right, when we used to have Dak playing, which was being able to have an effective running game, go play action, and then take the big shots. So you really can't fully commit to anything defensively.
I agree with you 100%. They are so balanced and so physical. They're going to run the ball. And what makes Baker Mayfield so much different now with his arrogance and his cockiness, he understands the whole game, what it takes to be a winner, how to keep that running game going so his play-action pass, and he will run that ball. And he is tough, he is mean, and he's directing his energies in the right way now as an elder statesman.
And he's played in this building a couple times before as well. Of course, the Texas High School Football State Championships were here this past week leading into it. He won a state championship in this building at Lake Travis High School down near Austin. So he's brought some of that confidence to the college level, now to the NFL level, bouncing around from Cleveland to L.A., but now he's found a home with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tied for the most passing touchdowns in the NFL since the start of the 2023 season. He's thrown for 60 touchdowns. What has made his career even better than those that drafted him overall at the top pick of the draft?
I think stability. You talk about somebody who's bounced around. I think they understand exactly who he is as a competitor. They've surrounded him with guys that are like-minded. And when you've been in that system for a number of years now and you have weapons, not only that you can turn around and hand the ball off to, you have guys that can protect for you. You have tight ends that can catch the rock. You have multiple receivers. Even though Godwin's went down, they still have some dudes out there. This allows for somebody like him to go out there and play with that confidence. Now he's not just an oddball out there being hooting and hollering and doing all the crazy stuff. That actually works there because he gaslights and gets everybody amped up, and then they go out and execute. There's a very dangerous combination when you have Baker Mayfield along with that.
The number one thing for Baker Mayfield is he's getting coached now. When he was in Cleveland, he wanted to do his own thing. Yeah. Then you bounce around and you learn humility. He is getting coached now by Todd Bowles and the young guy, Lim. He is getting coached. And he's telling them in these situations, he's a better down and distance guy, better situation guy. That comes with maturity and understanding that this league don't last forever.
And there's also the system, Kyle. The system that they have out there. Yeah. When you go back and you watch the film and you understand these pass concepts that they are facilitating on this field, it is nasty, okay? Nasty. They are attacking all 3 layers of the defense. They have a low guy that's an option. They have a mid-level guy, and they have a deep guy. And if you want to try to commit to any of those guys, somebody most likely is popping open.
Well, let's hear what Mike Zimmer and Mike McCarthy feel about that system and how that Tampa offense has been rolling.
No, I don't think so. I've watched 3 or 4 games so far. No, he's playing with a lot of confidence, getting the ball out. Very confident. Looks like what he's doing, scrambling well. So he's playing really well.
Do they throw a lot at you scheme-wise or personnel group-wise?
Yeah, way too much. Tell them to slow down.
Good football team. Talented. Really like the roster. All the way through offense, defense, and special teams. I think the biggest thing they categorize their offense. They got excellent balance. I mean, their numbers reflect that, but you can see, like anything, it starts up front. Their ability to run the ball, both backs are excellent. I think Baker's playing some of the best football of his career. You know, Mike Evans still playing at a very high level. So they can, you know, hold the ball 7, 8, 9, 10 plays, and they also can make the big plays. So they do a lot of things schematically, a lot of screens. You know, I think teams that really do a good job mixing it up on first and second down definitely helps them on third down. So I'm impressed with them on offense.
You guys have been chomping at the bit to talk about the run game from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and how they've been so effective with guys like Bucky Irving and Rachaad White behind the line of scrimmage. How do they continue to run the football at such a high level? Because it hasn't just been this year, but it was before really Tom Brady was in the fold. Now they've had some struggles in 22 and 23, but outside of that, they've been traditionally a good running attack.
You know what? I'll let Nate expand on this because he's been a part of some offensive lines that have that grit, that determination, that nastiness. That is the culture that they have out there in Tampa. Like you said, it was before Tom Brady got there, and it has carried on for years after he's been there. These guys are nasty up front, and it doesn't matter who you put in that backfield. It is the resilience and the consistency that these guys have and the expectation of a solid run game that everything else revolves around.
When everything goes haywire, and you can look at your offensive line, Detroit had it. 49ers used to have it. Kansas City, to a certain point when they need it late in the season, they seem to have it. Is that ability just to run that ball, to grind out. You saw what, like 39% or 49% on third down?
Yeah.
That's what running the rock does for you. You know, keep you on the field, keep the chains moving. And these two electrifying backs that they are something special with that offensive line.
What makes Bucky Irving a step above all these other rookies that we've seen in the NFL this year, leading the rookie class in rushing yards right now?
It's called fast twitch muscles. He got explosion all over the place, man. He catch the ball swinging it out of the backfield. He can go 90. He can go up through the middle of the defense going 90, 100 miles an hour. This guy is, I'm telling you, they are second only to what Detroit. They are second only to Detroit. I'm telling you, these boys can get after man, and Rachaad White can do it.
Yeah, they don't have a nickname. They're not Sonic and Knuckles, but they something like it.
Yeah.
They something like it.
Yeah.
But Bucky Irving, again, I can't say enough about what these guys are as a unit and enough about what Skip Pete has done every step. Every place that he's been, he's had a solid running core, and these guys are no different. Bucky Irving can do all the things. He blocks well. He runs downhill. He's quick. He can catch the ball out the backfield. He does all the things. He's not going to put the ball on the ground. So when you have somebody that's playing consistent like that, and then when they go out, you have somebody else that comes in and does the same exact thing, you got problems.
You probably learned that from Oregon back whenever he was playing for the Oregon Ducks.
No, it wasn't until he got to Tampa.
Yeah, it was once he got to Skip.
You think all the Washington boys like it?
You know what? He's playing well with them Washington boys.
How many are there on this team?
We got three. We got three contributors out there.
Who are they?
Yeah,
we said we got Auden at the tight end position, which I think he's out today. We have McMillan at receiver, and then we also have the big Vita there.
Big number 50, the biggest linebacker in the National Football
League.
Big
fella.
You know, it is the season of giving.
Yes,
it's the season of giving. I've got a little present for you. If you can read the backside of that for me.
Yeah, read that out loud.
What does it say?
Merry Christmas to the first person to mention the Washington Huskies on the show from KY.
Yeah.
Now, what's in there?
What's in there, man?
What you know about brown?
Show the fans.
What you know about brown paper bags?
Show the fans.
Oh, yes, the lone wolf. Yes, I like
show
it.
them out to the camera.
Yes,
Here.
sorry.
What do we
Sorry,
do?
I was about to put these in my pocket. But I use these as mittens today.
Yeah, you might as well
Fire.
put them on.
Thank you
can
very
show
much.
From the wind here.
Thank you very
now,
much.
That defense has been led by a Washington Husky and Vita Vea and what he brings to the table as well from a rush standpoint. But, of course, it's also been a steady hand of Levante David at the second level. 13 years in the NFL. And you've, of course, had what you bring to the table for like this among active players. All 13 of those years have been in Tampa Bay. What makes him special at the linebacker spot?
Well, he's a special player. His explosiveness, his physicality, his smarts. And then you couple that with the fact that they put some big fellas in front of him that are effective. Now he can roam free. Todd Bowles is out there running the 3-4 defense. A lot of times he has 6 guys at the line of scrimmage. When you have 6 guys that are clogging up every hole on the offensive line, those offensive linemen linemen cannot work up to the next level. Big fellas like Nate Newton want to get up on those linebackers. They want to love on them. They want to hug on them.
Yes.
They want to, as Barry Church would say, grab them and hold them.
Yeah.
But when you have a responsibility first at the defensive line, you cannot get up to those guys, and they can run around and cause havoc.
They can line him up anywhere. He can drop back and cover. He can blitz. He got 6 sacks. This guy's he's all world, man, and he keeps himself in shape. He looks good. I mean, he moves good. He blitzes at the right time. He can time things right. He understands how they're trying to attack the defense. So he make the proper adjustments. This guy's just an all-around, all-pro player.
And I know we give you some flack for talking about Vita Vea a lot and the Washington boys, but he is incredible on that defensive line. What makes him special as a player?
Oh, he's a hoss, man. He's absolute hoss. You talk about 6'4", 350 pounds. Not only is he big, the boy's twitchy, right? I don't know how many big fellas you face, Nate, that are twitchy as well. He's athletic as all get out. He's strong and he's smart, and he understands that if you put one guy across from me, how dare you? I'm going to disrespect him so bad that you will have to put 2 people on me. And when you put 2 people on me, I'm still going to get skinny, get vertical, and cause you to go around me and go another direction, which is then going to allow my guys to free flow. He loves seeing his guys make plays, and he knows a lot of those times is because of what he did to cause havoc.
He ain't going to never get skinny. But anyway, he can play on your right tackle or your left tackle with an equal amount of pressure as he does in the middle. And that is the biggest thing tonight. If we're going to be effective in running that ball, we're going to have to be able to deuce block him out of there, move him some way, and somehow to get up to these lines, the Lavonte Davis of the world. Because if we don't establish another line of scrimmage, he's going to make plays, and that's going to free these linebackers up to make plays. They have more than Lavonte David. But this one big guy that sits in the middle with a number 50 on stops a lot of that. I mean, he's the biggest linebacker in the world.
He's incredible.
Yes.
He is as good as they come at the defensive tackle spot, and the Cowboys have the tough time slowing him down today. Now, it's time to reveal our Cowboys pregame live trivia question. We've got the question up here. What years did the Cowboys win on Christmas Day? Any of you guys know the answer to that before I turn to the fans behind
I
us?
wouldn't, man. I wouldn't.
You don't know?
Y'all don't know?
Anybody
know? Where's Nick Eatman at?
Right there. He's down there. He knows the answer. He definitely knows the answer. The answer is 1971 was the first time they did so at Minnesota. The final score was 20-12. They've only played 3 times, by the way, on Christmas. The second win that they had, you were on the team, Nate Newton. Back in 1995.
Wow.
Got the win over the Arizona Cardinals, taking down the Cardinals. I believe it was on the road, 37-13.
You played on Christmas?
Have a Merry, Merry Christmas.
I don't know if I would have ever guessed on my bingo card that your voice would have been singing Christmas carols out on the AT&T East Plaza. But here we are.
It was a gift.
Here we are. That is a gift. That's the best gift we could have received today. Our Christmas episode and Christmas trivia question. Love it. 1971, 1995. Let's take a look at the inactive list today. The Dallas Cowboys that are unavailable for the team today. Deuce Vaughn, Eric Kendricks, a big loss on the inside of that Cowboys defense. Jalen Brooks was reported earlier today. The number one thing there is Eric Kendricks, T.J. Bass right in the middle. 2 starters for this Cowboys team that aren't going to be available in this one.
Yeah, and that's major. You start talking about T.J. Bass. I know Cooper Beebe is back, but T.J. Bass is somebody who was able to rotate in and play some solid minutes for you. And then Eric Kendricks in the middle of that defense. I mean, I don't know where you're going now.
Because there's only Louis Maris
Leofau.
Maris, he's the only guy left.
He's only 190 pounds probably.
Yeah, but he can run like a deer. We need for Marcy to show up and show out.
And you don't have Marquise Bell either, who, of course, worked down from the safety position last year because of the lack of linebacker depth. That's a big loss for the Cowboys.
It's huge, especially when we start talking about going up against a top 3 rushing offense.
They do have Nick Vigil. They have Buddy Johnson. They've elevated a linebacker off of the practice squad.
I like Buddy Johnson a lot. He's physical, but he's
got to come downhill.
He got to come downhill, but he's not as experienced as Eric Kendricks to make sure that you're always in the right sets to handle what they're doing offensively.
To be fair, really only the few guys that are as experienced as Eric Hendricks is playing on the opposite sideline,
Yes,
and his
true.
name is Levante David,
Right.
who we just talked about. Speaking of guys we've talked about already, how about Nick Eatman down on the sideline at AT&T Stadium? He catches up with Cowboys COO and Executive Vice President Stephen Jones.
Thanks so much, Kyle. And we're joined by Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer, as we get ready for this game against the Bucs. I know we'd have to talk about earlier in the day when the news came out, Washington edged the Eagles. That changes things as far as the playoff contention. Does that change anything for the approach for you guys here?
No, we've worked our butts off all week. Mike's done a great job with the team and getting them prepared to play tonight. I know we'll get out there and get after it and compete and fired up about seeing how our guys play tonight.
Well, you say it all the time about acquisitions, 365 days a year, and evaluation probably is as well. So even though, hey, the goal is to go play and win, you still probably have some young guys that you're looking at that you're just hoping to see what they can do as we head into next year.
Yeah, I mean, a guy like Marist is a perfect example. I mean, he stepped up last week, played a hell of a game in Overshone's absence. Created turnover, do what you're looking for. And, these young offensive linemen are getting opportunities to really go out and keep getting better, as we bring those guys along. Like we said, we brought a draft pick back home in Rodgers this week. So, we'll just continue to go to work every day. Our team keeps getting better every week, and our goal is to win each game each week.
And it seems like there's something to be said for you have about 25 unrestricted free agents. You have a lot of coaches that may be out of contract as well. Everyone's coaching and playing for auditioning for next year anyway, so it's not like you're not ever thinking about what's going on here. You're looking at it down the road as well.
Yeah, well, these guys are professionals. They know they go to work every day. They're pros. Whether it's the players, the coaches, the personnel group, everybody's playing to play the very best, be the very best team we can be. And certainly young guys getting opportunities are a big part of it. They're not only, as you said, not only playing to win the game, but they're also playing for their future. And just look forward to seeing how we do tonight.
When you signed CeeDee Lamb to the contract that you did, obviously you put a lot of faith in him and investing in him. But has he shown you anything else here in the last few weeks of how he's playing with this injury?
Absolutely. I mean, these guys, that's what make them great in the first place. I mean, there's something inside of guys like CeeDee and Dak and Micah, that make them great. And that same thing is what makes them want to compete week in and week out. And that's why CeeDee, even though everybody, is aware that he's not 100%, he's having to play, through some injuries, he's going out there and giving it everything he has, and obviously playing as well as any receiver in this league. I think he's top 3 in, all categories receiving, and just done a great job this year for us.
How about his college quarterback, or one of his college quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield, how he plays on the other side? What kind of matchup is that going to be for your defense going up against him?
Well, Baker's one of those guys, I throw it out there a lot, and it's usually associated with a very really good football player. He's a competitor, and a guy that's all he's ever done is compete wherever he's been. He's doing a great job for the Bucs. Since he's come down to Tampa, playing at a real high level, and we're going to have our hands full. He's got good weapons. They run the ball well on their side of the ball, but also, I think Zim's got this defensive group coming into their own on our side of the ball. So it'll be, I think, a great game to watch tonight.
All right, it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for joining us. That's Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer. We'll see you. Kyle, we'll throw it back to you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nick and Steven. Back here with Cowboys pregame live on the AT&T East Plaza. Some fans sticking around. Of course, the doors are open. Everybody's having some fun out here. It's a little chilly, but we're having a blast. Cowboys, Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football, alongside Isaiah Stanback, the Super Bowl champion and Emmy Award winner. You can catch him on the Talking Cowboys podcast and on NFL Network as well. You've got Nate Newton down there at the end, 3-time Super Bowl champion, 6-time Pro Bowler, one of the greats that have ever worn a Cowboys uniform. Of course, we talked earlier how the Cowboys have had their playoff hopes ended, eliminated from playoff contention officially. And that's unfortunate, but let's hear from Jerry Jones, who still has confidence in Mike McCarthy and Mike Zimmer to close the season on a high note and possibly beyond.
Well, in a way, I do, and especially after the last ball games. And but I think you're seeing the best of Mike Zimmer. And maybe I shouldn't say that. You're beginning to see some of the best, but maybe the best is still ahead of us. But he's been real impressive now, putting that defense together with the attrition that we've had with availability with our players. So I give him that. Mike, I don't know how you cannot say that his team has shown that they'll handle adversity, and he can get you there with the injury situation impacting the availability of those players. I hate to keep repeating that, but it's so obvious, and yet have that team playing at the level it's playing. So, I give them both high grades this year.
Of course, you heard it on 105.3 The Fan there. Jerry Jones talking about his confidence with Mike McCarthy and Mike Zimmer. This is a tough coaching assignment going into these final 3 games, having the opportunity to put good tape on film, put everything on film going into a crucial offseason for this Cowboys organization. What is the challenge at hand to motivate these players, motivate the staff around them into the final 3 weeks or so?
You know, it shouldn't require no motivation. I mean, you have an opportunity to play in the NFL, and the reality is some of these guys, their jobs are secure going forward. For a large population of guys that are on this field, whether they're wearing a headset or whether they're wearing some cleats, their job is on the line. So these guys not only are playing for their opportunities that are coming forward, whether in form of this year or next year, but also these coaches obviously are on the last year of their contract. These guys are trying to put out good tape as well, and they're trying to prove their worth not only to this organization, but to those that might be watching.
Yeah. And to add, just take away the uncertainty. Play the best you can play within the system. Coaches coach the best you can. Take away the uncertainty. Don't make it, what do you think about this guy? When I looked on film, I saw this dude doing this and doing that. When coach made a super call right there. Take away the uncertainty by the way you play and the way you handle yourself the rest of these 3 games.
So with all that being said, you've got something of some level of pride on the line tonight. You have an opportunity to turn around what looks to be the worst home record you've had since 1989. Nate, I know you were around for that one as well. The Cowboys trying to turn their 1-6 record around at home. How do you do that? How do you piece that together? Is that a mental thing, or is that something in general with the team as a whole?
Just one play at a time. You've had success. Now you know what it feels like, and that's what you want to feel. So you play one play at a time, one snap at a time, one series at a time, and before you know it, the game is over and you've won. But just do your job, and just play as hard as you can within yourself.
Be the Grinch. It is Christmas season, but you have an opportunity to be the Grinch. You can go out there and steal Christmas from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I like that.
I mean, that's what you're going out there and you're trying to do today. Go out there and have fun being a disruptor. Cause havoc. Mess up their whole night so that they can go home in that long flight all the way back to Tampa, and you can go right back to the crib and have a good time.
And that's the thing is you get to play spoiler now in the NFC because you've got not only Tampa Bay tonight, but you have 2 other teams that are fighting for or already in a playoff spot. With Philadelphia next week on the road, you can play spoiler in Philly. You got to love that. And then you get back home. You've got your former defensive coordinator and Dan Quinn coming to town in that final week of the regular season. There's still a fun opportunity to disrupt what this NFC playoff picture looks like. There you see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right there. They are in the hunt. They are right. They at least control their own destiny out of the NFC South, being chased currently by Atlanta and a couple of other teams along the way for the wild card as a whole. But what are your expectations for tonight's game? Because like we just talked about, you got to motivate the players. You got to motivate guys around a team that's been eliminated going up against a team that's right in the thick of the NFC playoff picture.
Yeah, I mean, my expectations for tonight is for them to have a continuation of what they've been doing, which is execute on defense, continue to cause havoc there because that's what you've relied upon over the last few years. And then offensively, find some form of consistency, right? Your running game is coming along, but now your passing game has to play catch-up. And if you can get those things hitting on all cylinders, plus your special teams that you expect great things from, then you're going to be cooking with gas.
Make third down a big down. I mean, we got to play first and second down, but make third down and get off the field, whether it's by a takeaway or whether it's by just being good enough to stop these guys. You got to get off the field on third down.
That's a big one tonight to make it happen. Micah Parsons will play a big factor there. You see Maris Leofau, of course, with Eric Hendricks out. He will be in a massive role for this Cowboys team going into this matchup against Tampa Bay. It's time now for one of our pregame live traditions. If you've never watched pregame live, we end the show show with Call Your Shot, an opportunity to make a bold prediction going into the year. These are the rules. We start with a bank account. It's getting pretty low in that bank account throughout the season because it's a bold prediction. Supposed to be something that should not happen. Uh-oh, Nate Newton still leading the way at 4 points. Isaiah's at the bottom in the negatives right now. -1, Isaiah. What's going on?
Listen up. The whole purpose of the game is to make bold predictions. I do bold with capital, underline, italicized.
B-O-L-D, bold.
Somebody likes to play it safe.
Oh. All right.
Y'all really going to hate this one this week.
Oh. What are you going to say? They going to snap the ball?
They'll have at least one snap this week. This is going to be great.
Oh, my God.
What's your bold prediction, Nate? Start us off as the leader.
The Cowboys have to win time of possession.
You see what I'm talking about?
That's it?
You see what I'm talking about?
For
Time of possession?
Yeah, time of possession.
What are we? So we're saying just straight 50-50?
No, you got to win at least by a minute. 31
by
29.
a minute.
Yeah,
How about more
30
than that?
minutes
How about
and
like 3 minutes?
You got to win. Yeah, just about. You got to win time of possession, baby.
Oh man, that's unfortunate. Isaiah, what's your bold prediction? That's not fair. Boo! Everybody, yeah, that's bad.
Win the game.
My bold prediction is that the Dallas Cowboys are going to keep Baker Mayfield under 250 yards passing. Now, remember, he is trying to get Mike Evans 1,000 yards for the 11th consecutive season. He is going to be trying to throw this ball around. I think Dallas is effective in their pass rush, and then Baker Mayfield struggles trying to push the ball down the field.
There would be a lot of fantasy football managers that would be very upset if that bold prediction comes true, and I know a couple of them that are on our crew and are looking forward to that moving forward. But I'm with you. You talked about Mike Evans. They're going to target him quite a bit, but I do not think he finds the end zone tonight. I think he is held scoreless. Of course, he had 2 touchdowns last week. He's been lighting it up since he returned from IR. He does not have a touchdown at any point tonight. That is my bold prediction in our Call Your Shot here in Week 16. I'm trying to catch up to Nate, and it's hard whenever he's saying time of possession. That's unbelievable. I can't believe that. Unbelievable. This wind's starting to pick up as well.
We win the game.
Win the game. Of course, we talked earlier in the show about Rico Dowdle and company and what they've done in terms of running the football. Do you think he gets to 4 straight 100-yard rushing games with another great performance today?
Outside the tackles, yes.
Oh.
that bundled with time of possession, I think.
That always works out. That's going to help out in its own right. What is the key for the Cowboys to have that running success throughout today?
You got to be able to handle the interior of their defensive line. If you can't handle Vita Vea, you have zero chance of getting this running game going. They don't just have Vita Vea. They also have Yaya Diaby. They also have Logan Hall. These dudes have some guys up front that you have to be able to handle, but it starts with the big number 50 in the middle.
Well, and what makes Mike Evans special on the opposite side, Nate, whenever you're talking about playmakers? We've mentioned Rico Dowdle. We've mentioned CeeDee Lamb. We haven't talked a lot about Mike Evans as a whole. What does he bring to the table for this Tampa Bay team, and how can Dallas combat it?
And I'm just going to keep it simple. He's the type of receiver that whether you're starting on your 10 or whether you're in the red zone, this guy can cover it all. He can get over the top if he's crowded. He can run good enough routes in the middle of the field to get you down the field. He is a special guy. He's not talked about a lot, but he is a special receiver. And he don't drop many passes. If he's wide open, he'll catch it.
2 things that you have to make sure that you don't allow with Mike Evans. You don't allow one-on-one coverage, and you don't allow him to get behind your safety. He's going to get his catches. I don't care if Mike Evans has 10, 12 catches. Just don't let him have any splash plays. That's the thing that you have to prevent with this team.
And the good thing about it is you've got a primetime matchup. He's going to want to show out because on the opposite side, you've got CeeDee Lamb, another one of the top wide receivers in the NFL. We asked this question when it was CeeDee Lamb versus Jamar Chase on Monday Night Football a couple weeks ago, but you step your game up when you've got 2 of the best at your position group going head-to-head in prime time, right?
Yeah, you like to compete, but obviously you can't control anything that they do on that side of the ball, but best believe CeeDee Lamb's going to want the ball. He's going to want to have the opportunity not only to get his stats up, but he's going to want to have an opportunity to impact this game in a positive way. And just like CD wants that, trust me, Mike Evans wants that too in terms of them chasing the playoffs.
I wish you could have used a better analogy because last time we went up against a superstar like that, a superstar kind of outdid him. So I know he want to get some revenge in that aspect.
It's going to be a lot of fun tonight. Prime time Sunday night football. The Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I want to shout out everybody that stuck around back here in the AT&T East Plaza. It's chilly, it's windy, but Cowboys Nation has showed out in a big way entering Week 16 of the NFL season. And we appreciate you guys joining us here on Cowboys Cowboys pregame live. We'll be back after the game on Cowboys game night and the first word presented by Dr. Pepper. For Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton, Nicole Hutchison, Nick Eatman, and our entire Dallas Cowboys crew, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long from the AT&T East Plaza. Enjoy Cowboys Bucks Sunday Night Football.